What follows is not an analysis of chaos. It's an explainer on a cold, repeatable pattern for capturing power. And once you see it, you're going to see it everywhere.
Something is wrong at the center of power. Look, this isn't about broken policy. This isn't about some aide giving bad advice. No, the sources we're looking at suggest something else entirely, something much deeper.
The danger of Donald Trump was never some secret master plan. The real danger, this analysis argues, was the exact opposite. It was that he had no plan at all.
At the very heart of the presidency, there was a hollow space, a vacuum where judgment and strategy should have been. And a vacuum doesn't stay empty for long. Power without its own gravity, well, it gets pulled by whatever's closest. You see, a leader with a cruel plan, you can fight that. You can understand it, you can resist it. But a leader with no plan, driven only by impulse, history is very, very clear on this. That is so much worse.
So that brings us to the core question of this entire explainer. Was Donald Trump the author of it all? Or was he just the instrument, a tool for forces that were colder, smarter, and way more patient? Let's dive in.
Okay, so how does something like this even happen? Well, it all comes down to one simple, powerful principle: the law of reaction.
This idea comes from the work of Robert Greene, and it's absolutely crucial. The law of compulsive reaction basically says this: when a leader is ruled by emotion instead of intention, they stop making choices. Instead, their reactions, their impulses, they become signals, openings for other people to step in and grab the wheel. And what was the result? You got a presidency that wasn't governed by intention, but by attention. Policy wasn't born from careful thought. It was the prize in a constant battle for the president's focus. Whoever got to him last, whoever flaunted him the most, whoever poked at his grievances just right, they got to shape reality. And just like that, every personal insult felt like a national security threat. Every critic was an enemy of the state. The presidency, an office designed to be a shock absorber for emotion, turned into a live wire. It didn't contain impulse, it amplified it. And that left the entire system wide open. So if the presidency was just this hollow, reactive vessel, it begs the question, right? Who was filling it? Who were the operators pulling the strings? On the screen, you see the two types of players in this game. You've got the undisciplined leader, all impulse, all about grabbing attention. And then you have the disciplined actor, driven by ideology, always looking for leverage. One is unpredictable and exposed. The other is patient and consistent. And let me tell you, in the game of power, patience beats impulse. Every single time.
The sources point to someone like Stephen Miller as the perfect example of this disciplined actor. And his method, it wasn't about debating policy. It was pure psychology, a 4-step playbook. Step 1, find the grievance. Easy. Trump always felt under attack. Step 2, supply the script. Give him a story where the blame is always on someone else. Step 3, grant moral permission. Frame cruelty not as a bug, but as a feature, as realism. And the final step, turn all that raw emotional resentment into actual official policy.
But an idea is just an idea without infrastructure to back it up. This is where the oligarchs come in, with the sources using Elon Musk as a key example. We're not just talking about money here. We're talking about real, hard leverage. Communication satellites, social media platforms, massive defense contracts. This is the critical infrastructure of our society, and it's being run with almost zero public accountability. It's the perfect way for private power to steer public policy without leaving any fingerprints. So what happens when you mix a reactive leader with a disciplined ideologue and then add a layer of unaccountable private power? The result is depressingly predictable. The whole system just starts to unravel. And this kind of decay, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not a big explosion. It's more like a slow rot. First, the unspoken rules, the norms, they just bend a little. Then the words themselves start to lose their meaning. Soon, the things that were once completely unthinkable are suddenly on the table. And finally, accountability just evaporates. Any consequence is reframed as a witch hunt. With each step, the bar for what's considered normal gets lower and lower. And you have to understand, breaking norms at home and breaking alliances abroad, they're not two different things. They're two sides of the same coin. According to this analysis, they both come from the exact same impulse: impunity. The raw belief that if you have power, you're entitled to use it no matter what. Because here's the thing we forget. Civilization isn't natural. All of it, the laws, the norms, the alliances, it's just an agreement.
a very fragile agreement we all make to put a leash on raw, naked power. And when you let that agreement fall apart, you don't get something better. You just get force.
Which brings us to the most disturbing part of this whole thing. The real danger wasn't the chaos we all saw. It's the precedent. It's what it proved was possible. The true legacy here isn't a tax cut or trade deal. It's the demonstration, a live-fire demonstration of how incredibly fragile our political system is. It proved that a distracted, emotional leader can be picked up and used like a weapon by people who are far more patient and far more disciplined. And that leaves us with a truly chilling final question. We've seen the pattern, we know how it works now. So if a distracted leader could be used so effectively, what happens when someone who is just as ruthless, but also disciplined and focused? What happens when they try it? Was this whole thing just a dress rehearsal? The analysis lays out 3 roads from here. A slow creep into lawlessness becoming normal, a massive, violent backlash, or a big external war to distract everyone from the rot inside. The question isn't about what happened then. It's about what's happening now. Look around. Which one of those paths do you think we're on right now?